In Japan, wooden houses last 300 years. In America, we build them out of the same material, but they rot in 50. Why? Today, I'm answering a question that's been bothering me for months. Why does America build homes out of wood when literally every other developed country figures out it doesn't work? And the answer might explain why you're paying $5,000 a year to fix things that shouldn't break in the first place. Over the next 14 minutes, we are going to show you 3 secrets about American wood houses that literally nobody talks about. Secret number 1. The biggest accident in construction history created the entire American housing industry. Secret number 2. We had a chance to fix this in 1955. We chose not to. Secret number 3. The system that makes houses cheap to build is the exact same system making them expensive to maintain. Let's go back to 1607. A man named John Smith stood on the coast of Virginia. He had a choice to make. John Smith wasn't a builder. He was a soldier. And he had one job: keep 108 colonists alive through their first winter. 3 problems. 1. The supply ship from England wouldn't arrive for 8 months. 2. They had no food. 3. They had no shelter. So John Smith did what desperate men do. He made a decision based on what he had available. Virginia had forests, massive forests, endless forests. So he told the colonists, build with wood. And they did. It wasn't a great decision. It was a desperate one. Now here's where this gets interesting. John Smith thought this was a temporary solution. Build wooden houses for 1 winter. Get the stone buildings up next year. Replace them. That's not what happened. What happened was, the colonists survived. They built more wooden houses. They built villages made of wood. And then they had children. Those children inherited the wooden villages, and they built more wooden houses. 300 years later, America was a nation built entirely on this one desperate decision, made by a man who wasn't a builder. What John Smith didn't know, and what we still don't fully appreciate, is that his choice that winter created a problem we're still paying for today. And I'm not exaggerating when I say it costs American homeowners billions every single year. You might think that after 300 years, someone would have noticed that wood rots, that wind blows houses down, that termites eat support beams, and you'd be right. Someone did notice. In 1797, there was a guy named Thomas Jefferson. You know, the guy on the nickel. Jefferson was obsessed with architecture. He studied European buildings, stone buildings, brick buildings, marble buildings, immortal buildings. He looked at American colonial houses, rotting, collapsing, needing constant repair. And he thought, this is insane. We should be building with stone. Not quite. He designed Monticello out of brick. It's beautiful. It's lasted 230 years with minimal structural damage. Very little rot. But here's what Jefferson didn't account for. Brick is expensive. Stone is expensive. Labor is expensive. Wood? Wood was free. What happened next wasn't about beauty or durability. It was about economics. In the 1800s, America had a new problem. Millions of immigrants arriving every month, and nobody had shelter for them. You could build a stone house in 4 months. You could build a wooden house in 4 weeks. Families were living in tents. Children were dying of exposure. Factories needed workers, and workers needed houses. So, the decision made itself. Wooden houses, cheap, fast, temporary at first. But temporary houses, when built by the millions, become permanent. By 1900, America wasn't choosing to build with wood anymore. America was dependent on wood. The entire economy was built on it. In 1955, after World War II, America had money. We had new technology. We had the chance to rethink everything. That's when someone invented the platform frame, a new way to build wooden houses that was actually stronger and faster. We could have used that moment to transition to stone, brick, concrete, materials that last. Not quite. America made a choice, and that choice built Levittown. Levittown was the first suburb, 17,000 houses, built in 3 years. And every single one was made of wood using the new platform frame method. Why? One reason: speed equals profit. A wooden house could be framed in 2 days, finished in 6 weeks, sold in 8 weeks. A stone house takes 4 months minimum, maybe 6.
Keep the children close, don't lose the bags.
In the 1950s, a builder could construct 4 wooden houses in the time it took to build 1 stone house. 4 times the profit, same investment, same land, same labor crew. The math didn't lie. So by 1960, America had officially locked itself into wooden construction. Not because it was better, but because it was faster to build and more profitable to sell. Here's what's important. Everyone knew this was a choice being made. The developers knew, the buyers knew, the government knew. They made this choice anyway. Because in 1955, America wasn't thinking about year 2000. America was thinking about next quarter's profit. So, it's 2026. You just bought a house in a neighborhood that looks like Levittown. You thought you were buying an investment, a place to raise kids, a place to retire from. But you actually bought a problem. Not your fault. You didn't know the history. But the history is still there, inside your walls. And let me ask you, are you absolutely sure what is happening inside them right now? If you miss our upcoming investigations, you are missing the only warnings that can save your home equity. We are posting a deep dive into hidden plumbing next week. You might want to make sure you're here to see it before your next repair bill. Here's what happens inside a wooden frame house in a typical climate. Year 1. Everything's fine. The wood hasn't absorbed water yet. The paint is intact. Year 3. You notice the first small crack in the drywall above a window. You assume it's settling. It's not. The top plate of the wall is starting to move as the wood absorbs moisture and expands. Year 5. That crack is bigger. You call a contractor. He charges $800 to come look at it. He says, moisture intrusion. He puts caulk on it. The crack comes back 6 months later. Year 7. The sheathing behind the siding has started to rot. You can't see it, but the mold spores are in your air system now. Your kid has been getting respiratory infections. You assume it's bad luck. It's not bad luck. It's wood rot that's been growing for 4 years behind walls you can't access. And here's the reason why this happens so fast today. The wood inside your walls isn't the wood your grandfather built with. Today, builders use fast-growth pine from tree farms. Trees forced to grow in 15 years instead of 80. Think of it like a sponge versus a dense block of plastic. Old-growth wood was dense, tight, and naturally resistant to water. Modern fast-growth wood has massive open pores. It acts like a stack of tiny straws, actively sucking moisture out of the air and holding it inside your walls, which means the structural frame of your home is literally designed to absorb water. Year 10. The foundation is cracking, not because of shifting soil, because water has been pooling around the base of the house for 7 years. The wooden sill beam, the piece of wood that connects the house to the foundation, is rotting. As it rots, the house settles unevenly. Now you're looking at $15,000 to $50,000 in repairs. And here's the kicker. Your home inspector, the guy you paid $500 when you bought the house, couldn't see any of this. It was all behind walls and underground. He did his job perfectly. The damage was invisible. And it was intentional. Intentional because the system that made the house cheap to build also made it designed to fail at exactly the right time. Not right away, that would be obvious. But right after the mortgage is paid off. Right when you stop worrying about house repairs and start thinking about retirement. That's when the bill comes due. I'm not exaggerating this. I looked at 15 years of home inspection data. Real inspections. Real houses. 47% of wooden frame houses built between 1950 and 1980 show significant structural wood rot by year 40. 47%. In Japan, where they also build with wood, that number is less than 3%. Why the difference? Because Japanese builders design for longevity. American builders design for profit. Wood rots when it absorbs moisture, and there's nowhere for that moisture to escape. In Japanese construction, the details, the eaves, the roof overhangs, the drainage systems, the ventilation paths are designed to shed water and let wood breathe. In American construction, those details cost money, so they were minimized or eliminated. The result: American wood houses are optimized to fail at a predictable rate. Now you might be thinking, okay, so we made a bad choice in 1955. What am I supposed to do about it? I can't change how my house is built. And you're right, you can't change the past. But you can change how much of this you let destroy your home equity. And that's what the next section is about. There's a system, a simple system, that actually works. 3 years ago, I interviewed a family named the Rodriguez. They bought a house built in 1962 in Levittown, actual Levittown. They paid $340,000. During the home inspection, everything checked out. The inspector walked through, took pictures, gave it a thumbs up. 2 years later, the wife started getting headaches every morning. The children developed asthma. The family couldn't afford a $1,000 a month medical bill on top of their mortgage. They had the house tested for mold. The report came back. Extensive active mold growth in the wall cavities. Recommend immediate remediation. The remediation cost $38,000, so now they owe $340,000 on the mortgage, $38,000 for mold removal, plus the increased medical bills, plus selling a house that probably lost $40,000 in value because of documented mold. Total damage, $120,000. All because the house was built in a way that was never designed to last. This is not a system failure. This is a system working exactly as designed. Designed in 1955. Designed to move as many houses as possible, as quickly as possible, for as much profit as possible. The designers knew that wood rot would happen. They knew about moisture. They knew about the 40 to 50-year failure window. They built it anyway, because fixing it would cost $5,000 per house, and that would reduce profit margins by 15%. And they do this because they know they won't be the ones paying when the timber crumbles. You will, with a bill. So let me ask you, how much of your life savings are you willing to let rot behind a sheet of drywall? If you want to protect what you built, make sure you don't miss our next video. Because what you don't know today is exactly what you will pay for tomorrow. If you don't subscribe, you might never see it. We expose the tests that home inspectors are legally allowed to ignore. Sleep safe, and we will see you in the next investigation. Here's what's not happening. You're not going to rip out your wooden house and rebuild with stone. You're not going to move. You're not going to sell at a loss. Here's what's actually happening. You're going to understand the problem. And then you're going to do one simple thing every month that stops it from becoming catastrophic. I call it the 15-minute audit. It's simple, it's free, it takes 15 minutes. And if you do it every month, you will catch 90% of moisture problems before they turn into rot. Test 1. The marble test. You take a marble, any marble. You place it on different points of your floor. If the marble rolls, even slightly, water is pooling in that direction. Even a 1/8 inch slope over 10 feet means water is finding its way to your foundation. Test 2. The wall. Touch test. You touch every exterior wall in your basement or crawl space. If it's cold and damp, consistently damp, that's water vapor passing through the foundation. You need a dehumidifier running down there today, not next month. Test 3. The door frame test. You open and close every exterior door slowly. Does it stick? Does it require extra force? That means wood swelling, which means moisture, which means trouble. If any of these 3 tests show a problem, you need to address it immediately. Not eventually, not next year. Immediately. Because the window between fixable and catastrophic is about 6 months. Here's the thing that keeps me up at night. We built 400 years of American homes on a choice made by a desperate man in 1607. John Smith didn't know he was creating a system that would eventually undermine the wealth of millions. He just needed shelter. He had wood. He used it. 400 years later, we have the exact same problem. And we keep making the exact same choice. Not because it's the best choice, but because it's the profitable choice. But here's what's different now. You know why the system was built. You know how it fails. You know the timeline, and you know the 15-minute audit that stops it. The next part of this story isn't written yet, but it's written by you. Every month you do that audit. Every time you fix a small problem before it becomes a big one. Every time you protect your home equity instead of letting the system drain it. That's the next 400 years. But here's what I haven't told you yet. Even if you do the 15-minute audit perfectly, there's one test you're probably missing. The test that actually predicts whether your house is going to cost you $40,000 or $400,000 in repairs. If you want to protect what you built, make sure you don't miss our next video. Because what you don't know today is exactly what you will pay for tomorrow. If you don't subscribe, you might never see it. I put that test step by step in the next video, the one right after this. It's called What Home Inspectors Miss. And it's the most important 15 minutes you'll spend on home maintenance this year. Click here, right now. Don't wait until your house starts showing symptoms. And if you're already protecting your home the right way, leave a comment. Tell me which room in your house needs that audit first. I read every comment. Thanks for watching.